Our last topic for this chapter focuses on systems of inequalities. So a system, again, is just where you have two equations, or in this case, inequalities put together. We graph them on the same graph, and we figure out what our solution is. Because these graphs will involve shading, we'll actually have a shaded region that will be our solution. And I'll show you what that looks like. But first, let's get these lines up on our graph. I'm going to move this one over so I can focus on the first one. This is not ready to graph because we do not have y by itself. So remember, we always have to solve for y before we do any graphing. Get the x over to the other side with addition or subtraction. Y is greater than or equal to, that's a negative x minus 3. So that one is ready to go. So let's talk about this graph. We have a slope. Slope is the number in front of the x, so just a negative 1. If you want to put it over 1, so you have a rise over run, that helps out. Our y-intercept is that negative 3 on the end, but we write it as an ordered pair. Now because this is an inequality, we have to figure out if we should have a solid or dotted line, and if we should shade above or shade below. So y is greater than or equal to. The or equal to line tells us solid line, and then because it's greater than, we're going to shade above. We actually can go ahead and get this graph, this inequality on our graph over here. Starting with our y-intercept down here at negative 3. Our slope is negative 1, so down 1 to the right 1. You do want to make sure that you are getting a downhill line on that. Go ahead and fill in your points on the other side. We said that it would be solid, so we can draw in a solid line. And then we are going to shade above. So this is the part where I'm not going to shade everything, but I'm going to give little indicators for where to shade. So what I do is I start with my y-intercept down here at negative 3, and I just put a little arrow above. I know that I'm going to shade above. Then I'll just pick a couple other spots on the line and just put arrow shading above, knowing that that region above our line is the shaded region. The reason why I'm not shading it yet is because I still have another line to get up here, and I don't want it to get all messy with crazy shading from this first line. Alright, so now we're going to do the exact same thing with our second inequality. Let's get y alone, so we have to get the x to the other side. 4y is less than 6x plus 12. Divide both sides by 4. And we have y is less than. Now 6x over 4, focus on the numbers. 6 over 4 can reduce by 2, so dividing by 2 you get a 3 over 2. Go ahead and put the x next to it. And then 12 divided by 4 is 3. So here's our inequality. Let's identify the information we need. Our slope is in front of the x, so 3 halves. And our y-intercept is 0, 3, that number on the end. What will our line look like, solid or dotted? So it's just a less than without the or equal to line, so this is going to be a dotted line. And then should we shade above or below? Y is less than 3x, 3 halves x plus 3. So a less than tells us to shade below. So let's get the line up here, starting with our y-intercept up here at 3. We do our slope of positive 3 halves, so up 3 to the right 2. Make sure it looks like you're getting that uphill line. And then go ahead and fill in the other side. Down 3. What did we say? Dotted line. So we're going to draw in a dotted line this time. That looks good. And then we said the shading is going to be below. So again, I'm going to use these little arrow indicators for the shading. Starting with my y-intercept, put an arrow going below the line. And then that's the side that should be shaded. So I'll just put a couple other indicators on beneath my line. So what you'll notice is we actually have, when we have two lines that intersect like this, we have 4 regions that could be shaded. So I'll just point them out real quick. That region could be shaded, or this one, or this one, or this one. And you're looking for the one that has both sets of arrows pointing into that section. Now if I were to say, hey, why don't we shade this one on the left? If you notice, over here, there are no arrows pointing into this, so we don't want to shade in there, so that's not our solution set. You're looking for the spot that has 2 sets of arrows. So hopefully you can see these arrows are pointing into this region as well as these arrows. So of the 4 sections you created, just one of those should be your solution set. And then why are we shading in all these points? All of these ordered pairs are solutions to the entire system. You could plug those ordered pairs into, remember, whoops, didn't want that line there. You could plug any of those ordered pairs into this system that we started out with, right here, and you would get, it would be a true statement in both of those. So, system of inequalities, just take one line at a time, get your line up there, and then figure out which section has both sets of arrows pointing in, and that's your solution set.